Okay, you good to go? Got all your notes ready?
I have all my notes.
Welcome to another D3 Datacast. This is part 6 of our Division 3 basketball trading card series. If you missed any of the previous versions, you can go back. We have a running playlist on YouTube. Check it out there. But Matt, we got a lot to get through, so let's jump right into it. So this is the 21st pack overall. And Matt, we're leading off with the St. Joseph, Connecticut Blue Jays. Matt, we know that you know your Blue Jays.
Yeah, we did that episode, and I got all of the Blue Jay logos correct in Division Three. So representing Blue Jays, great to see. St. Joseph out of the GNAC, West Hartford, Connecticut. Their first loss of the season this last year came in the GNAC finals, a loss to Albertus Magnus. That meant Albertus Magnus got the Pool A, but St. Joseph was, of course, safe for a Pool C. They went on to the Sweet 16, where they fell to Wheaton, Illinois, at Christopher Newport.
Next card, the Gallaudet Bison.
Yeah, one of the interesting things about Division Three is all of the cool schools and universities out there. Gallaudet is the only school in the world, is what I'm led to believe, in which all programs and services are specifically designed to service the deaf and hard of hearing students on campus. And it's an officially bilingual institution with all programs and instruction being in American Sign Language and written English. So very cool to see Gallaudet. Glad for them to have a card here in this card set.
Oh, we have our first insert of this pack, Matt. This is from the National Committee set. We have Cam Fuller.
Cam Fuller, the athletics director at St. Norbert. We got a chance to spend a few minutes talking to Cam in Fort Wayne, and so that was great fun as well.
Okay, back to the base set here, Matt, with the Westfield State Owls.
Westfield State out of the MASCAC, Westfield, Massachusetts. They were 8-4 in their conference last season, and they lost to Worcester State in the MASCAC finals.
Next up, the Alvernia Wolves.
Alvernia out of the MAC Commonwealth in Reading, Pennsylvania. 19-8 overall, so nice season for them. But they were another team that went down in their conference final. Widener topped them for the Pool A in the MAC Commonwealth.
And here's our other insert card in this set, or this pack, Matt. It's from the D3 Threads. A literal thread on this relic card from the National Championship net. Matt, I don't know how you were able to keep from being noticed. You got up on that ladder and snipped a piece, and here it is on the relic card.
Yeah, this is the literal thread everyone wants, holding up that national championship net at the end of the season. John Krikorian did it with Christopher Newport this last year, head coach there. So congrats to the captains, and great to see this relic card. You get a piece of the championship net that's an infinitely replicable net that you can produce all these cards with. So that's cool.
Rounding out the pack here, a few more of the team base set, the RIT Tigers.
Yeah, Rochester Institute of Technology in Rochester, New York. They're part of the Liberty League.
Gettysburg Bullets.
Gettysburg out of the Centennial Conference in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania.
Next up, the Teal Tomcats.
Yeah, Tomcats, one of those nicknames that's kind of a cool one, maybe more unique in Division Three. Teal is in the PAC, the President's Athletic Conference in Greenville, Pennsylvania.
All right, Matt, a chance to highlight one of the provisionals here, officially in their exploratory year, the Carlow Celtics.
Yeah, Carlo, I think getting through that provisional year, they'll officially be a provisional year one next year. Zach, if I have my provisional chart memorized. And they're out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I think they're due to join the AMCC coming up in 2023-24, even as a provisional institution.
All right, another Sweet 16 participant here, Matt, the Keene State Owls.
Yeah, Little East Conference from Keene, New Hampshire, and they've had 20 wins or more in 6 out of the last 8 seasons. Like you said, they were a Sweet 16 team this last year, so a lot of success that Keene State is used to.
All right, Matt, this pack is giving us some tournament heavy hitters here. Here we have our runner-up from last year, the Mount Union Purple Raiders.
Mount Union out of the OAC Alliance, Ohio, as you said, Final Four national championship game appearance, runner-up. They could have easily won that game. That was a great game and a tremendous Final Four from those four teams. So Mount Union was right at the top of the country last year, and I think they're going to have a lot to say this next year as well.
All right, that wraps it up for pack 21. On to pack 22, Matt. Let's go. First up is Manchester, the Spartans.
Manchester Spartans, Heartland Collegiate Athletic Conference, HCAC. They're in North Manchester, Indiana, one of the closest non MIAA schools to the other MIAA schools, Zach, for anyone out there who cares.
All right, next card out to the west, the Whitman Blues.
Whitman is in eastern Washington, kind of southeastern Washington, Walla Walla, the Northwest Conference up there. And I'm led to believe that there are very nice wineries out in the Walla Walla region.
Next, the Hilbert Hawks.
Hilbert in the AMCC out of Hamburg, New York. So Region 7 stretching all the way out here to kind of western New York.
Regis in Massachusetts, the Pride.
Regis out of the GNAC, we had St. Joseph. St. Joseph was the regular season champs in the GNAC last year. So here's Regis, another conference mate there. They are out of Weston, Massachusetts.
Brevard Tornadoes.
Brevard out of the USA South, out in Brevard, North Carolina.
All right, our next card is the Western New England Golden Bears.
Commonwealth Coast Conference for W New England, and they're out of Springfield, Mass.
All right, here we see an insert set from the Dream Destinations mini set. Matt, we talked to Pat Coleman about the D3hoops.com Classic, and here it is highlighted on one of our insert cards.
Yeah, one of the great tournaments across Division III, men's and women's, all at one site, South Point Hotel in Las Vegas. Great way for teams from around the country to come and get kind of cross-regional games, try to get quality regional games or regionally ranked games. And we had Pat Coleman on an episode talking about other things Division III, but also largely about the D3 Hoops Classic and how they solicit teams and the teams that they're looking for. So a great event, one of the top, definitely 2 or 3 kind of D3 tournaments out there, usually in the between Christmas and New Year's part of the calendar. So it's someplace you want to go if your team has not been there. Get in contact with D3 Hoops Classic and try to get out there.
Yeah, we'll link that episode in the show notes because that was a good conversation. All right,
sure.
back to the team base set, Matt. We have the Emmanuel Saints.
Yeah, Emmanuel out of Boston, Massachusetts. They're also a GNAC team, so a GNAC heavy episode here.
All right, and now back to the West again with the George Fox Bruins.
Yeah, George Fox, Northwest Conference, Newburgh, Oregon. Just as you said, we went from Massachusetts to Oregon. Definitely a national feel here on D3 Hoops and these cards. We got teams from coast to coast and a conference called Coast to Coast in Division III basketball. So that's part of the fun.
Next up, we have the University of the Ozarks Eagles.
Ozarks in the ASC, American Southwest Conference. They're out of Clarksville, Arkansas. One more season for them in that ASC, and then they're going to move on to the SCAC as part of that whole conference shuffle that's going on down there. D1's not the only division with conference shuffle going on. D3's got it to some degree as well.
Here we have our other insert in this pack. It's the Fierce Foes mini set. This one highlights the rivalry between Claremont Mudscripts and Pomona Pitzer, one of the more unique rivalries in Division III.
Yeah, down in there in the SCIAC, the Los Angeles area, Pomona Pitzer, Claremont Mudscripts, essentially one campus, 5 schools, meet across the street for a big rivalry game. They both were actually knocked out. They were the 2 of the top teams in the SCIAC all season. They both got knocked out in the semifinals. So they didn't get to meet. Sometimes these foes, maybe they'll split the regular season, and then they'll meet again in the conference championship game. This year it was actually Pomona Pitzer, I think, winning both, if I have my scores correct. But they didn't get to meet in the conference the conference tournament. But Pomona Pitzer had the resume to get a Pool C bid. Claremont Mudscripts, unfortunately, just out of the national tournament picture.
All right, and then we wrap up Pac-22 with the Emerson Lions.
Yeah, let's go back out to the East Coast. Let's go back out to Massachusetts for the Emerson Lions, part of the NEWMAC Conference, New England Men's and Women's Athletic Conference. So shouts to Emerson and the NEWMAC.
All right, let's tear off that foil for Pac-23. Matthew, what do we have? We have the Yeshiva Maccabees.
The Maccabees out of the Skyline, Washington Heights, New York City. Great to follow the Macs, and definitely check out that Macs Live broadcast, high quality out there.
Alfred State Pioneers.
Alfred State out of the AMCC, one of these Western New York Region 7 teams, so kind of the old Great Lakes region stretches all the way out to Western New York, and Alfred State is part of that.
All right, here we have one from our Content Kings insert mini set. This one highlighting Jay Murray. Does a great job on the Wash U broadcasts.
Yeah, tremendous job, tremendous broadcast, Jay Murray. He does play-by-play out there on the broadcasts. One of the great ones to watch, and he does multiple sports, covers multiple sports out there at Wash U. So shouts to the people doing the work to bring us all the great Division three games and contents out there. It's people like Jay doing tremendous work out there at Wash U in St. Louis.
Also a top 25 voter, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, thanks for that confirmation, Matt. All right, next up, the LaSalle Lasers.
LaSalle, another GNAC school. They're in Newton, Massachusetts. And one of the games of the year ended up being LaSalle hosting St. Joseph, Connecticut, because LaSalle led a lot of that game and it went right down to the wire. Kind of a cool gym with a track above it where the students were kind of congregating, watching the game. It was getting loud in there. Unfortunately for LaSalle, they couldn't quite hold off St. Joseph, but that was very nearly St. Joseph's first loss of the season out there at LaSalle. I think LaSalle led with under 3 minutes to play. And I think a lot of Division three hashtag D3 Hoops on Twitter that day was following the LaSalle Lasers to see if they could pull it off.
All right, Matt, you know Wabash always fights. Here we have the Little Giants.
Yeah, and they were able to fight their way into the first round of the NCAA tournament as the NCAC auto bid. They beat Worcester in the NCAC final to get into the NCAA tournament. And Wabash is in Crawfordsville, Indiana, a former host site of the Great Lakes Invitational.
Next card here is the Pratt Cannoneers.
Yeah, Pratt competed in the Coast to Coast Conference. They're in Brooklyn, New York, and they are, like I said, currently in the C2C, but they're going to be moving to the AEC, the Atlantic East Conference, in a couple of years.
Next card's the Valley Forge Patriots.
Valley Forge, Phoenixville, Pennsylvania. They were in the CSAC conference, so we're going to see one of the CSAC is merging with the UEC, so these are one of the two teams, or sorry, one of the several teams that will be part of that merger. And I think they're going to go into a divisional structure where it's essentially the CSAC competing on one side of the division and the old UEC competing on the other side. I'm not sure if that's a long-term thing or a short-term thing, but I think I saw that announced by the UEC on Twitter.
All right, we have another tournament participant here, the East Texas Baptist Tigers.
Yep, American Southwest Conference, Marshall, Texas. Right now, I think the AASC has been 10 members. It's going to go down to 6, and then it's going to go down to 5. Right now, East Texas Baptist is one of those teams slated to stay in the ASC, so we'll have to see what happens to that conference going forward. They were NCAA tournament participants last year. They got into the second round. They had that Mary Hardin Baylor Texas pod there, and so East Texas Baptist was one of the teams there in that first round pod.
Oh, insert card here, Matt. It's one of our favorite sets, the Random Twitter People mini set here featuring at D3 Bubble, our friend Drew Pasteur.
Yeah, like you said, one of our favorite mini sets. Also, one of our favorite people on D3 Hoops right here. Drew does a great job with D3 Bubble. When you get down, well, all season long, he has great data. And especially when you get to the NCAA tournament, I love his Pool C projections. I think they're the most accurate Pool C projections out there. And that's including mine. So I definitely follow Drew. I use his data to give context for some of our D3 Datacast episodes as well. And he's a great follow, great friend of the show. We were able to meet him and his son down in Fort Wayne enjoying the Final Four.
All right, back to the team base set with the Mary Washington Eagles.
Another coast to coast conference team, Mary Washington out of Fredericksburg, Virginia. They earned a Pool C bid into the NCAA tournament and got into the second round.
All right, Matt, we're getting a lot of D3 West Coast flavor here, even though there aren't technically a lot of D3 West Coast teams, but back over there for the Puget Sound Loggers.
Yeah, Northwest Conference. We're going from Virginia all the way back out to Washington State. Tacoma, Washington is where Puget Sound is located, and they're in the Northwest Conference, as I said, part of, one of those island teams out there in the Northwest.
All right, wrapping up Pack 23, we have the St. Joseph's Brooklyn Bears.
Another Skyline team. We had Yeshiva up several slides. Here is St. Joseph's Brooklyn, New York, Skyline Conference, and there you have it.
All right, Pack 24, 24th pack in our series here. We start with the WPI Engineers.
NUMAC Conference out of Worcester, Mass. And they have kind of a cool tradition going with Worcester State, where they've played the midnight game on opening night. So basically, the earliest possible tip-off time of the season they had, and I think I did a sneak peek of a schedule on Worcester State's site, and it looks like they're going to play a midnight game as well next year. So good to see that
Yeah,
continue.
that's very cool. Yep. All right, another card here from the Fierce Foes set. This one highlighting the rivalry between Whitman and Whitworth.
Yeah, they split the season series. It was Whitworth winning the Northwest Conference Championship game and getting into the Pool A, the NCAA tournament via the auto bid. But this is one of those great rivalries. The Northwest Conference is an island conference, as we've said, but these two teams are kind of like the Eastern Washington island within the island, and they're kind of farther apart from the others who are more on the Pacific coast. But you have Whitworth and Whitman, not necessarily next door neighbors, but more similar in geography than the rest of the NWC.
Here's a fun fact for you, Matt, as we've been going through all these teams. So, you have Whitworth and Whitman. They're not even next to each other alphabetically in the D3 list because Whittier slides
Whittier,
right in
yep.
between them. So you have the two Wits, but there's actually a third Wit that keeps them from being next to each other alphabetically.
Whittier
So there you go.
poets,
That's
yes.
my fun fact contribution for the episode.
That's a good one. I like that. I usually know because my tabs are in all alphabetical order on my spreadsheet. So you get Whittier in there. Yep.
All right, back to the team base set, the MSOE Raiders, Milwaukee School of Engineering.
Zach, you and I love an engineer, so we love Milwaukee School of Engineering, Northern Athletics Conference, and aptly in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Birmingham Southern Panthers are next up.
The Southern Athletic Association is their conference, Birmingham, Alabama. This is one of the schools that has been very publicly struggling with their school finances, and they've been in financial troubles. They've had to go to the state for some requests for some funding. I think a lot of that was largely denied. I believe the city is going to be providing some funding, so hopefully that can keep Birmingham Southern going here for a while. We'll have to see what their long-term prospects are, though, as well. So sad state when you see some of these Division III closures. We have had to talk about some of them on previous slides with like Finlandia cards coming up, etc. So hopefully Birmingham Southern can avoid that, but we'll have to see what happens to them in the future.
Next is the Penn State Barron Lions. Pack 24 here, Matt. I think we finally made it through the D3 contingent of the Penn State system.
Okay, we're out of Penn States now. Yeah, they're in the AMCC conference out of Erie, Pennsylvania. And the fun fact, Zach, you pointed this out to me. They are technically, I believe, officially named Penn State Erie, the Barron College, but they typically go by Penn State Barron. So I don't know what any of that all means, but that is their name.
All right, the next card is a team-based set card, the Westminster, Missouri Blue Jays. Matt, another Blue Jay.
Another Blue Jay. We love the Blue Jays. They're all similarly colored. They had similar logos, but I was able to, determine which ones were which. They're in the SLAX, St. Louis Intercollegiate Athletic Conference out of Fulton, Missouri. So a great shout out for Westminster here.
Marywood Pacers.
Marywood's in the AEC, the Atlantic East Conference, and they actually hail from Scranton, Pennsylvania.
All right, Matt, we're getting closer to home here. The Alma Scots.
Yeah, we're tired of going coast to coast, so let's stick here in our neck of the woods here in Michigan. Alma College in Alma, Michigan, the Michigan Intercollegiate Athletic Conference. Fun fact, who's the last MIAA team to make a sectional final? It's not Calvin, it's not Hope, it's not Albion, it's not Trine. It's the Alma Scots. They did it in, I should have made a note, somewhere in the 2014, 2015 range. Didn't actually record the date.
Next card is the Hiram Terriers.
Hiram out of the North Coast Athletic Conference in Hiram, Ohio, and I think that's kind of like northeastern Ohio, if I have my geography correct.
All right, another from the D3 Threads relic set. Matt, oh my goodness. Not only did you get a swatch here, but poor Poppers, you took a piece of flesh here, Matt. We've got the shorts and a little kneecap. What's going on?
Well, Akiva Poppers, a great D3 Hoops fan, D3 Hoops top 25 voter. You see him on Hoopsville and the like. I'm led to believe that he's the type of guy, basketball is a winter sport. He's just going to roll shorts all season long. You get into that gym, you're going to want to pop on some shorts. Doesn't matter that can get cold in New York City. So we wanted to, memorialize that part of him in this D3 thread set for all time. And yeah, we had to unfortunately gouge out a chunk of his knee to make this card. But I think he was a great sport about it. And you know, if you're gonna rock the
I think it was,
shorts, you're gonna get a D3 threads. Yeah,
yeah, I think it was worth it. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, yeah. We'll have to ask him if it was worth it, but it was worth it for us.
Next card, the Southern Virginia Knights.
Southern Virginia, the USAC conference, USA South, in Buena Vista, Virginia. And I did double check this. This is the more anglicized pronunciation of Buena Vista, just like Buena Vista College. It's not the Spanish pronunciation. So Southern Virginia and Buena Vista in Storm Lake, Iowa, we can stick with one pronunciation there.
Convenient. All right, LaGrange Panthers are next.
They're in the CCS, the Collegiate Conference of the South, out of LaGrange, Georgia. Zach, we have I think 3 La schools in Division III. We have La Roche, 2 words. We have La Verne, 2 words. But here we have LaGrange, which is just 1 word. So important to keep those all separate.
One more pack for part 6 of our series here. Pack 25 overall leads off with the Spalding Golden Eagles.
Yeah, another SLIAC team. We had Westminster above, but here is Spalding. SLIAC is St. Louis Intercollegiate Athletic Conference, but Spalding's in Louisville, Kentucky. So we're getting into the Kentucky side of things here.
The Waynesburg Yellow Jackets are up next.
Yeah, great member of the PAC, the President's Athletic Conference. They're in Waynesburg, Pennsylvania, which is kind of like southwestern Pennsylvania.
Here we have the team base card from our national champion from a year ago, Matt, the Christopher Newport Captains.
Yeah, in this episode, we saw John Krikorian holding up the net. Here's the team base card for Christopher Newport. They get that little national champs watermark up in the corner. Great to see them at the Final Four. They're a great team, and I would expect them to be in the national mix as well here in 2024.
Another great content king here, Matt, Greg Sager.
Yeah, another great content king, another great play-by-play guy. Greg Sager has been all around D3 hoops since I've been a member of the community, going back to my days initially on the D3 message boards, like circa 2005, 2006. Greg Sager's been a Hall of Famer over there, and now he's going to be a Hall of Famer at North Park Athletics. Zach, I think it was announced on Twitter that he was part of their next Hall of Fame class. So congrats to Greg. Major shouts to him. He, through his posts, taught me so much about Division III athletics, just at me being able to read his very detailed posts a lot of the times. And he chimes in at several boards. I know he's in the MIAA board when something, a topic pops up. He's in the CCIW board, of course, with North Park. And now he's all over Twitter as well. So a great Division III follower and community member, Greg Sager. Congrats to you, sir, as a content king.
Back to the team base set with the Gustavus Golden Gusties.
Gustavus Adolphus College, the Minnesota Intercollegiate Athletic Conference in St. Peter, Minnesota. I had to kind of look up St. Peter, but it's kind of like south central Minnesota, but not like west of Rochester, Minnesota, I guess.
Next is the Mount Aloysius Mounties.
Another AMCC team. They're in Crescent, Pennsylvania. So we've had a lot of AMCC cards, I think, this year, or AMCC adjacent cards. So Mount Aloysius, the Mounties.
Widener Pride are up next.
Yeah, they're in the MAC Commonwealth out of Chester, Pennsylvania. They came up. We mentioned them in a previous card because they were the MAC Commonwealth champs. They won that Pool A bid, winning the conference tournament, and they got into the first round of the tournament.
Our next card, Colby Sawyer Chargers.
Yeah, GNAC, a GNAC heavy episode here. They're in New London, Connecticut.
Principia Panthers are up next.
Panthers out of Elsa, Illinois. They're another SLIAC, St. Louis Intercollegiate Athletic Conference team.
A few more cards to go here, Matt, in our last pack of the episode. Next is the Immaculata Mighty Max.
Yeah, they're out of Immaculata, Pennsylvania in the Atlantic East Conference. And we had the Yeshiva Maccabees earlier. We know they're the Max, but Immaculata is the Mighty Max. So I think they maybe have one better up on Yeshiva. They're Mighty.
All right, the Vassar Brewers.
Vassar out of Poughkeepsie, New York in the Liberty League. Pretty good league there. And Vassar's been a competitive team, I think, mostly in that league.
All right, wrapping up with an insert card here, Matt. Major moments. This summer, we saw the return of We Are D3 to the basketball tournament and put up a great effort ultimately losing though to the University of Kansas alumni team.
Yeah, they lost to Mass Street there, but we were all on the edge of our seats. I think we are D3 led after quarter number one, quarter number two, quarter number three, dead even going into the Elam ending. And Mass Street, was it Mass Street? Mass Street was able to pull out the 3-point win there. But that was a great showing for We Are D3. They had everything to be proud of. Adam Fravert is one of the guys you can see on the card there. He had a tremendous game. Lots of players had really good games. They were really competitive with what was a pretty good team, really good team of D1 alumni and some former NBA players, etc. As well. So they had a good showing there. We Are D3. We were proud of them. We were, this. I was thinking for most of the game, this is the one. This is the one where we're going to get the win as kind of like an 8-1 seed. So hopefully, I truly believe We Are D3 can get wins in this tournament, and hopefully they'll be more properly seeded next year, maybe like a 4-5 matchup or something like that, and we can see them maybe get through a round or two. That would be definitely exciting to see.
All right, that wraps up for this episode, Matt. As usual, we want to thank those those people who are supporting us on Patreon. For more information on how you can join the list, check out patreon.com/D3Datacast, or you can also use the QR code there on the screen. But Matt, other than that, that wraps it up. So I think that all that leaves to say is, hey, good job, team.
Good job, team. Thanks for the support.